Good morning, students. Today we will study the fifth chapter in our textbook, The First Flight. Name of the chapter is The 100 Dresses Part 1 by L. Bore Esther. Now, this story is a sensitive account of how a poor young girl is judged by her classmate. The young girl's name is Wanda Petronsky. Basically, she is of Polish community staying in America. Her parents had migrated from Poland to America, and she studies in a school with American children in an American town. Now, the other children of the school see her as different in many ways. First and foremost, she does not belong to America, and her surname makes them laugh on her and make jokes of her. Further, we see that the Polish American community, which is in the United States, they arrived in America in 1608. But the largest wave of Polish immigration occurred in the 20th century, when more than 1 million Poles migrated to the United States. Now, these people formed the Polish American communities in Chicago and its suburbs. So, Chicago is sometimes called the second largest Polish city in the world, next only to Warsaw, which is the capital of Poland. And they were discriminated in America, as were the Irish, the Italians and Jews. Why? Because they did not belong to United States. And according to a census in 2000 done in United States, some 6,67,414 Americans of age 5 years and more, they reported Polish as the language which was spoken at home, which is about 1.4% of the people who speak languages other than English in America, which accounts to 0.25% of the population. So basically they are in a minority. And how people of America treated them, this is what this chapter is about. We start with the chapter. Today, Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat, but nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. It's Monday, the first day of the week, and Wanda Petronsky was not present in the class. But nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls, these were the two girls who started all the fun about Wanda Petronsky. Neither they noticed that Wanda is absent today. Usually she used to sit in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 13. This is where normally Vanda sat, in the corner of a room where all the rough boys who normally did not get good marks used to sit. That corner of the room where most of the noise in the class used to happen, the scuffling of the feet. It is that sound which you also make in the class when you are sitting and you suddenly start moving your feet on the floor, dragging your feet, not lifting it, but just to make noise, to create a disturbance, where majority of such sounds were made of the feet, the loud talking, the laughter of the boys, where anything funny was said, and most of the dirt and mud was in that corner where Vanda used to sit. Vanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. On the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all. And nobody had ever heard her laugh out aloud. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of smile, but that was all. Vanda used to sit in that corner, but she was not rough like those boys. Neither she made any of those sounds which used to come from that corner. In fact, she was quite the opposite of those boys. She never spoke a word, always remained quiet, and nobody had ever heard even her laughing out loudly. Sometimes she used to twist her mouth in a crooked sort of smile. That was all. This is what was the reaction which Vanda used to give whenever there was any kind of laughter or roaring sound in the class. She just used to give a twisted and crooked smile. Nobody knew exactly why Vanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Bogin's height and her feet were usually caked with dry mud. But no one really thought much about Vanda Petronsky once she sat in the corner of the room. Now, nobody knew, neither nobody took the liberty to ask Vanda why she was sitting in that last corner. Perhaps they thought that because she came all the way from Bogin's height and her feet, they were always full of mud, of dry mud. But then nobody really thought much about Vanda. Neither they spoke with her, neither she spoke with them. Once she sat in the corner of the room. The time when they thought about Vanda was outside of school hours, at noon time, when they were coming back to school, or in the morning, early before school began, when groups of 2 or 3 or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the schoolyard. These children used to think about Vanda not during school time. That is why nobody is interested whether Vanda is present or absent. The only time they thought about her was when they were going back home from school, or in the early morning when they were coming from home to school. This was the time when these children used to think about Vanda, when they would be talking and laughing out loudly on their way towards school. Then sometimes they waited for Vanda to have fun with her. This was the time when they used to wait for Vanda so that they could have a little bit of fun. Basically, they used to make fun of her. The next day, Tuesday, Vanda was not in school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. Monday she was absent. Tuesday too she remained absent, but nobody again noticed her absence. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with other children who got good marks and who didn't track in a whole lot of mud, did notice that Vanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular girl in the school. She was pretty, she had many pretty clothes, and her hair was curly. Maddie was her closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Vanda's absence was because Vanda had made them late to school. Monday, Tuesday passed by. Nobody notices her absence, but on Wednesday, her absence was noticed by two girls, Peggy and Maddie. Now, these two girls used to sit in front with all the students who got good marks, and they noticed that Vanda was not present there, and this was the third day. Peggy, now we come to know about these two girls, Peggy and Maddie. They are very popular in school, especially Peggy. Why? Because she was pretty, she had many pretty clothes, and her hair was curly, and she was the most popular girl in the school. Perhaps the reason being that she was one of the richest girls in the school. Maddie was her closest friend, her fast friend. And the reason Peggy and Maddie noticed that Vanda was absent today was because they had come late to school because of Vanda. As stated earlier, the only time they talked with Vanda was when they used to come to school or when they were going back from school to home. That was after school hours or before school hours. Today they had waited for Vanda to make fun of her, but then Vanda never came and they became late for school. So they noticed that Vanda was not present in the school. They had waited and waited for Vanda to have some fun with her, and she just hadn't come. They often waited for Vanda Petronsky to have fun with her. This is what had happened. They had waited a long time, waited and waited and waited, but Vanda never came. They used to wait just to make fun of Vanda. They often waited for her to have fun, but today she never came, and in waiting for her, they got late for school. Vanda Petronsky, most of the children in room 13 didn't have names like that. They had names easy to say, like Thomas, Smith, or Alan. There was one boy named Bounce, Willie Bounce, and people thought that was funny, but not funny in the same way that Petronsky was. Now, Vanda Petronsky, this is the name of the girl. Most of the children in room 13, this is their classroom, which is called room 13, didn't have names like that. They had easy names which could be said easily, like Thomas, Smith, or Alan. There was one boy whose name was Bounce, Willie Bounce, but they thought it was funny, but not as funny as Vanda Petronsky. Vanda Petronsky was funnier than Willie Bounce. Vanda didn't have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore a faded blue dress that didn't hang right. It was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch on the worn hard ground. Now, Vanda did not have any friends. She came alone to school and went also alone. She always wore the same dress. It was a faded blue dress, and it was never ironed properly, though it was a clean dress. In spite of not having any friends, a lot of girls talked with her. Sometimes they used to surround her in the schoolyard when she used to stand and watch little girls play hopscotch on the ground. Hopscotch is a game in which children hop into and over squares marked on the ground. Now, this was one of the other times when the children of the school used to talk with her in the school compound when she used to stand and watch other children play. Wanda, Peggy would say in a most courteous manner, as though she was talking with Miss Mason. Wanda, she would say, giving one of her friends a nudge, tell us, how many dresses did you say you had hanging in your closet? Peggy would talk with Wanda in a most courteous manner, very politely, as if she was talking with her teacher, Miss Mason. She would ask Wanda one simple question. Now, when she would ask this question, she would always give a nudge to her friends that she was starting the fun, and the friends would join in. She would just ask Wanda one simple question, that how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? Now see children, Wanda used to wear just one dress every day. It was a blue color faded dress which she never even ironed. Now when somebody is so poor that comes in the same clothes every day, though it is a clean dress, asking this question automatically is making fun of the person. There was no reason to ask this question. Of course, the other person will feel insulted. But this is what Peggy was. She was an insensitive girl. And very politely she would ask this question to Wanda, how many dresses did you say you had which were hanging in your cupboard? Now Wanda would answer 100. Now all the girls exclaimed unbelievably. 100? Exclaimed all the little girls incredulously. Incredulously means hard to believe. And the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Now, when she used to answer this, the children could not believe. Incredulously is not believe. Now, they would stop their games and listen to what Wanda had to say. Wanda would say, yeah, 100, all lined up. Then her thin lips grew together in silence. Wanda would say, yes, it is 100 days, all very nicely lined up in my closet. And then suddenly her lips grew tighter. In silence means she would no longer speak anything. What are they like? All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Yeah, all silk, all colors. Velvet too? Yeah, velvet too. 100 dresses. Wanda would repeat stolidly, all lined up in my closet. So Peggy would again ask, what are they like? I think they might be of silk, all of them. Yeah, she says, all silk and all colors also. Then she would again ask, are there any velvet dresses too? She would say, yeah, there are velvet too. And they all are 100 dresses. Wanda would repeat stolidly. Stolidly means showing no emotions. And then she would say, all are lined up in my. Then they would let her go, and then before she had gone very far, they couldn't help bursting out into shrieks and peals of laughter. 100 dresses? Obviously, the only dress Wanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So, why did she say she had 100? What a story! Then, after she used to say this, they would let her go. And then, before she had not gone very far, they would all laugh loudly into shrieks and peals of laughter. And they would repeat 100 dresses. Obviously, the only dress which she had was the blue one, which she used to wear every day. So, why did she say she had 100 dress? What a story she was cooking up. To cook up story, what a story means? She was cooking up a story means to make a story which is hard to believe. That is cooking stories. What a story, they would say. How many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs, all lined up in my closet. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike? Oh no. Every pair is different, all colors, all lined up. Then again they would ask her, how many pairs of shoes do you have? And she would answer, 60 pairs. Again, the children would be shouting, all alike. He says, oh no, every pair is different, all different colors and all lined up in my closet. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. Finally, Wanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitching her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to school alone. Now, this game was thought by Peggy and Maddie. They both were inseparable as friends, and they were always the last to leave. Finally, Wanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, and whenever she used to walk, she used to move her right shoulder in a funny way every now and then, finishing the walk to school alone. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies, and she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, don't you think that is a cruel way to treat Wanda, she would have been very surprised. Cruel? Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody could tell that that was a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person, else, why did she have a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. Now, Peggy was not cruel. In fact, she used to protect small children from bullies. Bullies are the bigger ones, those who do dadagiri in the class. And they bully the small children. And Peggy always used to protect the small children from the bullies. And she would cry for hours if she saw anybody mistreating an animal. Now, if somebody had said to her, don't you think that the way you treat Wanda, it is a cruel way to treat her? She would have been surprised when somebody asked this question. She's asking, cruel? Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody could tell that it was a lie, that she was telling lies. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just any ordinary person. Else, why did she have a name like that? This is what the story is about, that Polish immigrants which we talked in the beginning of the story. That she is not an ordinary person means she is somebody who is not an American, and Americans do not easily accept people of other community. This is what was going on during those times, and that is why she says that she wasn't an ordinary person. Otherwise, why would she have such a name? Anyway, she told that we never made Wanda cry. As for Maddie, this business of asking Wanda every day how many dresses and how many this and that she had was bothering her. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand me down clothes. Thank goodness she didn't live up on Bogin's height or have a funny name. Peggy used to make fun of Wanda, but for Maddie, this how many dresses she had and how many shoes and how many these and that, these all things she was bothered by. Why? Because Maddie herself was poor. She did not belong to Poland, and neither her parents were immigrants who came from Poland. She was an American, but a poor American. So she always used to feel bad whenever they made fun of Wanda. She also didn't have new clothes to wear. She always used to wear somebody else's handed down clothes. But she thanked God that she didn't live up on Bogin's height or have a funny name. Bogin's height was a place where all the poor people used to live, especially these immigrants who had come from Poland, and Maggie thanks God that she was not one of those who used to live on Vogin's height or neither have the funny name. Otherwise, she would also have been made fun of, like Vanda. Vanda never showed any emotions, but she understood all this fun which they used to make of her. Sometimes, when Peggy was asking Vanda those questions in that mocking, polite voice, Maddie felt embarrassed and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand, rolling them around and saying nothing herself. Not that she felt sorry for Vanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Vanda if Peggy hadn't invited the dress game. Sometimes, when Peggy used to ask Vanda all these questions very politely but just to make fun of her, Maddie used to feel bad about it. She felt that this is not good, and she used to study the marbles which she had in the palm of her hands, just rolling them over and say nothing herself. She never spoke anything when Peggy used to play this game with Vanda. She only joined in the fun, but whenever Peggy used to ask anything to Vanda, Maggie used to feel very bad about it. She did not feel sorry for Vanda exactly, but then she would never have paid attention also to Vanda if Peggy would not have been her friend and not invented the dress game. Then she would never have paid any kind of attention towards Vanda. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next. She wasn't as poor as Vanda, perhaps, but she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dress. Still, she would not like them to begin on her. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Vanda Petronsky. But say suppose Maddie thinks if Peggy stopped asking Vanda these questions to make fun of her and started asking those same questions to Maddie, then what? What would happen if all of them started asking Maddie these questions? She wasn't as poor as Vanda, perhaps, and she was poor, but not like Vanda. But then she would have more sense than Vanda to say about those 100 dresses. If she was asked, she would never answer that she had 100 dresses, and because Vanda told them that she had 100 dresses, they used to make more fun of her, and she would not like all these girls to do the same with her. But then she always wished that Peggy should stop making fun of Vanda Petronsky. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Vanda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent-mindedly. 8 times 8, let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy to say, "Hey Peg, let's stop asking Vanda how many dresses she has." When she finished her arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. Suddenly, she paused and shuddered. Today, they had been late to school, so they realized that Vanda was absent. And inwardly, Maddie was feeling very happy. Why? Because they did not make fun of Vanda. She was working on her arithmetic problem absent-mindedly. 8 times 8, that is 8 eights. She was working on it. What would be the answer? But then she wished that she had enough courage. She had the nerve, means she had enough courage to write Peggy a note and tell Peggy, or to speak directly to Peggy, what? Hey Peg, let's stop making fun of Vanda. This is what she is wishing, but then she does not have the courage to tell Peggy that we should stop making fun of Vanda. Now, when she finished her arithmetic note, she started to write a note to Peggy, but suddenly she stopped and shuddered. Shuddered means to tremble a little bit. She thought of writing a note, but then she stopped. Why? Because she pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls. Peggy might ask her where she got the dress that she had on, and Maddie would have to say it was one of Peggy's old ones that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise with. Now, why she stopped writing a note and suddenly trembled a little bit? Because she was thinking the same thing which was happening with Wanda now would happen with her. She was standing in the ground and all of them would come and stand around her, and Peggy would ask her the same question which she was asking to Wanda, that how many dresses she has got, or where did she get this dress which she was wearing. And then Maddie would have to say that it was one of Peggy's older dresses which my mother had tried to disguise with new trimmings, so no one in the room 13 would recognize it. So this is what she was thinking, that this is what is the answer I will tell, that it was her old dress, but my mother had changed a little bit of the design of the dress with some new additions to it, so that no one in room 13 would know that this is one of Peggy's older dress. If only Peggy would decide of her own accord to stop having fun with Wanda. Oh well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonde hair as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away. What difference did it make? Slowly, Maddie tore it into bits, the note she had started. She was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. Now, this is Maddie's thought process. If Peggy would decide of her own accord to stop having fun with Wanda, oh well, this is what she is thinking. Peggy herself has to decide if she wants to stop making fun of Wanda. A note written by me, or even if I tell her straight away, Peggy would not stop. So she just ran her fingers in her hairs as though to push that uncomfortable thoughts away from her mind, because she knew she did not have the courage to tell Peggy. Only Peggy herself could stop. Then slowly Maddie tore that note into small bits. Likewise, also, she was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. So, Peggy could not possibly do anything that was wrong. This is what she thinks, this is her thought process. In spite of knowing that Peggy is doing wrong, she thought that no, because she is the best liked girl in this class, she could never do any wrong. As for Wanda, she was just some girl who lived upon Bogin's height and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was in the schoolyard about her 100 dresses. Maddie remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue with colored trimmings, and she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. He would look like a Christmas tree in that, the girls had said in pretended admiration. Wanda was just one girl who lived on Bogin's height and always used to stand alone in the schoolyard. This is what Wanda is. She never said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was when they used to come and ask her about her dress. Now suddenly, today Maddie is remembering something about the dresses which she had said. She always used to say, I have 100 dress. But once in a while, she also used to describe those dresses. She suddenly remembered that one of the dresses which she had told was a pale blue dress with colored trimmings. And she also remembered another one that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash, that is a scarf. So the girls told her that that green dress which she was talking about, you would look like a Christmas tree in that dress. The girls had told to her in admiration, but which admiration? Pretended admiration, was not in real admiration, just they were pretending to admire her dresses and its colors. Thinking about Vanda and her 100 dresses all lined up in a closet, Maggie began to wonder who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest. For girls, the contest consisted of designing dresses, and for boys, of designing motorboats. While Maddie is thinking about all these dresses of Vanda which are lined in the closet, she suddenly started to think who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest. In their school, every year they had this contest in which girls were supposed to design dresses and boys design motorboats. This contest was held in the school every year. Probably Peggy would win the girls' medal. Why? Because Peggy drew better than anyone else in the room. At least that's what everybody thought. She could copy a picture in a magazine or some film star's head so that you could almost tell who it was. Oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. Well, tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winner. Then they would know. Now, Maddie is thinking, who will win this competition? Then she thought about Peggy. Peggy was the best drawing girl in the class. Nobody drew as nicely as Peggy. So she thought that she would win the girls' medal. Why did she think so? Because she knew Peggy's drawing abilities. She could copy a picture from magazine, or she could draw a film star's head so that you could almost tell who it was. So nicely she used to draw. And Maddie was sure that Peggy was going to win. Well, likewise too, the next day the teacher was going to announce the winner. So then they would know who won the competition. The next day it was drizzling. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. Naturally, on a day like this, they didn't wait for Vanda Patronsky on the corner of the Oliver Street, the street that far, far away under the railroad tracks and up the hill led to Boggins Height. Anyway, they weren't taking chances on being late today because today was important. Now the day came and the results were supposed to be declared of the drawing contest. Now that day it was drizzling slightly, a very light rain. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. Naturally, on a day like this, when it is drizzling, they would not wait for Peggy at Oliver Street. This was the place where Peggy used to reach from her house under the railway tracks from Boggins Heights, and this is where they used to wait for her. So today was an important day, and they were not going to be late because of Vanda, and that is why they hurried to school, as it was an important day for them. Now, while they were walking, Peggy asked, "Do you think Miss Mason will announce the winners today?" "Oh, I hope so. The minute we get in," said Maddie. "Of course you will win, Peg." "Hope so," said Peggy eagerly. Now, this is what they are discussing when they reach the school and enter the class. And Peggy When she asked, "Do you think Miss Mason will announce?" Maddie says, "Of course. I hope so. The minute we get in, she will announce, and of course, you will be the winner." So Peggy eagerly said, "I hope that I will be the winner." The minute they entered the classroom, they stopped short and gasped. There were drawings all over the room, on every ledge and windowsill, dazzling colors and brilliant lavish designs, all drawn on great sheets of wrapping paper. There must have been 100 of them, all lined up. This must be the drawings for the contest. They were. Everybody stopped and whistled or murmured admiringly. Now, when these two girls entered the class, as soon as they entered, suddenly they stopped short and gasped. Gasp means their mouth remained wide open because they saw something. In the whole class, everywhere there were drawings. On every ledge, windowsill, dazzling colors and brilliant lavish designs, all drawn on great sheets of wrapping paper. There must have been 100 of them, all lined up very nicely. So they thought these must be the drawings for the contest. They were, of course. And everybody stopped and whistled or murmured admiringly. Whosoever came in the class, they used to stop and just look at the drawing. And everybody practically murmured admiringly. They were in admiration of these beautiful drawings and were thinking that 100 such drawings, who must have drawn? How many of them would have drawn all this? As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Mason announced the winners. Jack Pickles had won for the boys, she said, and his design for an outboard motor was on exhibition in room 12 along with the sketches by all the other boys. Now, the teacher was already present in the class, and when all had assembled in the class, she straight away announced the winners. She said that Jack Bagels had won for boys, and his design for an outboard motor was on exhibition in room 12 along with all the other sketches by all the boys who had taken part in the competition, but it was in the next room, and Jack Bagels had won from this class, the winner of the contest for boys who used to design motorboats. As for the girls, she said, although just one or two sketches were submitted by most, one girl, and room 13 should be proud of her, this one girl actually drew 100 designs, all different and all beautiful. In the opinion of the judges, any one of the drawings is worthy of winning the prize. I am happy to say that Wanda Petronsky is the winner of the girls' medal. Boys' winner is announced, is Jack Bagels. For the girls, she says, just one or two sketches were submitted by the girls who took part, but one girl, and room 13 should be proud about her, this one girl actually drew 100 designs, all different and all beautiful. And the judges are of the opinion that any one of this drawing, any one practically of these 100 drawings is worthy of winning the prize. So if that one girl had submitted only one of these drawings, she would have won, but she submitted 100 drawings. And the judges said any one of these could win this competition. And Miss Mason, the teacher of room number 13, at last announced that the winner of the girls' medal is Wanda Petronsky. Unfortunately, Wanda has been absent for school from some days and is not here to receive the applause that is due to her. Let us hope she will be back tomorrow. Now, class, you may file around the room quietly and look at her exquisite drawings. Miss Mason said, unfortunately, Vanda has been absent for some days, and so she is not present to receive the applause which she rightly deserves. So let us hope she will come back tomorrow. And then she told the class, you may file around, means you make a line around the room quietly and look at her beautiful drawings. Exquisite is extremely beautiful and well made drawings. Just move around in a line and watch all these beautifully drawn dresses. The children burst into applause, and even the boys were glad to have a chance to stamp on the floor, put their fingers in their mouth, and whistle, though they were not interested in dresses. Everybody started to clap, to make noise, as you also. As soon as you get an opportunity, you start making noise. The boys had a chance to make noise with their legs, put the fingers in their mouth, and whistle loudly. Though the boys were not interested in girls' dresses, but even then they took this opportunity to make noise in the class. Look, Peg, whispered Maddie. There is that blue one she told us about. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, said Peggy. And here's that green one. Boy, and I thought I could draw. Now, Peggy and Maddie were walking together, and Maddie whispered into Peggy's ears, telling, you see there that blue one which she was telling us, that blue dress. Isn't it beautiful? Peggy said, yes. And that green one, here, see, Peggy says, that is also very nice. And then Peggy told, I thought only I could draw, but in front of these drawings, my drawing is nothing. These were those 100 dresses which Vanda had drawn.